Hey guys, this is Tauna, and I wanted to kind of cover this because the last time I covered it, it went really well and people seem to like it and appreciate the news, but there has been a great shift in some of the previous precons that people have been looking forward to and have been picking up. They're honestly like the more recent precons have been absolutely amazing, and the Bloomburrow ones are no exception. So first of all, we're going to go through what is going on, and we're going to talk about a little bit about that, and then we're going to also talk about each of the precons a tiny little bit because we've done it in the past, and talk about which ones I think should pick up. And spoiler, they are all really great. We've talked about that. So if you have not seen, and we're going to be specifically talking about TCG Player, and if you are going to be, purchasing them, feel free, go down to the link. There is going to be a link down below that you're going to be able to get links straight to being able to buy them. And then that's also going to support the channel. And, that's great because it means that I can continue doing what I do. So these precons were some of the, or at least some of them, and the most sought after precons that have come out in ages, as well as the fact that they are quite strong. Every single one of them, in my opinion, and all of them have great reprints too, which is really good. And all of them are relatively fun and interesting. So these precons obviously, were originally printed in Bloomburrow. However, it looks like we've had a big drop in them recently, very likely due to the impending reprint or the actual reprint has happened. And I'm not entirely sure which one has happened, but I do know that there is a reprint coming for these. At least, it's been shared around greatly. I'm not sure in the exact timing, but it's very good that they've started reprinting these commander decks more often. So going through each of them, we're going to talk about the price to start with, and then I'll talk about the actual decks later. So starting off with the animated army one, we've got this one reached up to a high point of 109, and now it's down to a low point of $50.84. Right? Like, that's the cheapest. These are actually the cheapest they've been since release, right? I think since the kind of first month and a half ish of it being out, right? It's actually really crazy. And look, we got it up here and reached kind of a max of 109. And then in the most recent week, we've tanked down to 52.34. And that's not even the most sought after one. We've got the Family Matters one here, went from 69 at its kind of highest point there back down to 45. That one there, around where it kind of, reached once it actually released and everything, is back down to there. We've got the let's talk about that one last because that's the most sought after. We got the Peace Offering one here. Peace Offering had got up to $112 and it's gone back down to 57. I do not expect these to stay down here, by the way. I do not expect these to stay down here. Once kind of this reprint dries up a bit, it could continue on for this to be for a little bit, like stay at this price for a bit, but I don't expect them to stay down here forever. We've got the Bloomburrow one, the Family Matter, blah, 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 blah. Peace Offering here, about, half its price. Went from 112 at its peak there down to 55. This one's actually interesting because it didn't hit its kind of, it was 41 for quite a while. And then once people kind of started playing around with it and started going on about it, like, for example, me, it's been 90 plus for a month and a bit now, 2 months, which is pretty bonkers. It's a really great precon as well. And then finally, we're going to talk about the Squirreled Away one, which is the most sought after one. It has actually reached its lowest point since release now, which is crazy because it was up to 158. It is down to $80. So that's again about 50% cheaper, which is crazy. You can pick up one here for 75 at the moment. Yeah, really, really nice. Now we're talking to US dollars, just so that way it's clear. But this one here, at least the Squirreled Away one, got really, really so many people bought it up to start off with. It had Chatterfang in it as well. It was just really strong and a very, very interesting deck. So all four of them, you can see that they've kind of gone down. Even like the actual grouping of them has now reached, $270 for all four. That's the cheapest it's been in a couple months now. that says in 307. 280 there. I do not, as I said, expect them to kind of stay down here. Once this kind of reprint dries up and everything, yeah. Especially this one, especially the Squirreled Away one. Everyone's after it. And potentially once I put this video out, people are going to go buy it. There is a lot of them there though. So who knows? I'm pretty excited about this. So actually talking about each of the decks, as I said, these are all really decent decks. So the Peace Offering one here is a group hug based deck where you're going to be handing out cards to everyone, but it's also got a side of like +1/+1 counters where you're going to be buffing up your creatures. Bumbleflower alone is going to get you a bunch of card draw, give opponents card draw, but then also give you +1s. And I think people really underestimate the power of giving a +1 counter to a creature each turn, and then also give it flying, so you can potentially swing in for huge damage with Bumbleflower once you kind of get it going. And people don't expect it because, hey, I'm playing a group hug deck, and there's a lot of group hug stuff in here, handing out cards to people, handing out presents to people, and then taking advantage of it for like alt win cons. And honestly, this is a great deck to build around alternate win cons. It's a really fun deck. And a really good one overall. All of them were pretty well built as well and had kind of decent reprints. And then just some decent kind of new cards in here too. Like the Bloodroot Apothecary is great in like a deck that's going to be handing out treasures or other tokens to people, or whenever they sacrifice any non-creature token. There's so much treasure stuff going around. This is just a great way to be able to kind of punish that. We've got, what else have we got in here that was great? 20-toed Toad was great. We've got Foxglove is a great kind of alternate commander there. Communal Brewing's great. You know, there's just a lot of really great stuff within this deck. We've got the Animated Army one, which is based around enchantments and artifacts, and then animating them with Bellow. So Bellow is going to turn each of your enchantments and artifacts that are 4 CMC or greater into a 4/4 elemental that's indestructible and has, whenever it deals combat damage, draw a card. So with the deck, I took it and it turned it into a vehicles, and then it has Bellow animate all the vehicles on your turn. But there's there's a huge amount of ways that you can build this deck, whether you want to go more the enchantment route, whether you want to go artifacts, whether you want to keep it as both. New cards with like the Alchemist Talent here, which is crazy great for any treasure deck. Makes it so all your treasures tap for 2, sack for 2 mana instead, creates treasures, and then makes it so your treasures burn things. You've got some nice ways to be able to buff up your creatures with gratuitous violence, unnatural growth, thickest in the thicket. Overall, just a great deck and really fun too. We've got Squirreled Away here, all around squirrels, but it's squirrels, but then it's mostly around just tokens, and just there's a heap of different types of tokens within this deck to kind of take advantage. You've got foods, you've got treasures, you've got squirrels, obviously. I think there's, even like some rat tokens in here. There's just a huge amount of different kind of tokens to take advantage of to be able to tap down with your commander. I turned this one into a squirrel and food deck with Camellia as the commander, and it's really fun. And there's just, some great reprints like Saw in Half, Terra Sunder's good too. We've got Belladros got reprinted in here and then proceeded to tank down in price. Toski as well. Overall, just, a relatively strong deck too. And then finally, we've got the Family Matters one, which is based around the Offspring mechanic. So every time you cast a creature with Zinnia on the field, you can pay 2 extra and create a 1/1 token copy of that creature, which is really good. So there's a bunch of ETB stuff in here, a bunch of ways to flood the board with a lot of little weenies. And then you've got some big stuff like Zinnia to be able to swing in and take advantage of having heaps of little creatures by having them just, get stronger and stronger. And there's just a lot of different ETB stuff in here. So like big stuff that when it enters the battlefield gets, some big, Sun Titan, reanimate something, exile some artifacts and enchantments, create some more goblins, that kind of stuff. You've also got like Fortune Tellers, and Echoing Assault I think is really underrated. I'm going to build a deck around the Master Multiplied, and that's going to be crazy with that, especially because it gives all your creature tokens menace too. Really cool. The great thing as well is in each of these you get one of these Planeswalker full art as well. So this one here, obviously with Elspeth there. So it's a Planeswalker that already exists, but reimagined as being from Bloomburrow as their Imagined Critters thing. So talking about which ones I think you should buy, honestly, if you have the money, all of them are really, really great. All of them are really fun. All of them build into really great decks. If you're talking about like, you know, strength-wise, I think the Squirreled Away one is definitely up there as probably potentially one of the strongest ones. And then, you know, Peace Offering is really underrated. People really underestimate it. But if you like the group hug kind of deck, it can get really strong so quickly. In our pre-con league that we had here, the person who won all of it was running Bumbleflower and just ran like, you know, a whole bunch of ways to be able to alternate win con kind of stuff. And it was just, yeah, I think he had 97% win rate or something like that in it, and the only reason he didn't have 100% was because he threw a match on purpose because he didn't want to have 100% win rate. It's really underestimated, but honestly all four of these decks are really great and really worth picking up. But if I had to suggest one to pick up, it would probably be the Peace Offering one. With Squirreled Away, if it continues to be at this price, definitely worth picking up. And then Animated Army is third, and then Family Matters. I don't know. Actually, maybe I'd suggest Peace Offering is first, Family Matters is second, Animated Army third, and then Squirreled Away is fourth. The reason I suggest Squirreled Away is fourth is just purely because it just costs way more than the others. If it drops down to, say, 50 US bucks, then I would suggest it more and probably put it as second on this list. But at the moment, it's just not worth the price, even though it's got a lot of value. I don't know. Honestly, all four are worth picking up. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and goodbye.